Hello! Today I'd like to show you Cottage Cutie. Now the reason I'm calling her that is because every time I picked her up to work on her, I thought, oh my goodness, it's so cute, it's so cottagey. So the insides, I tried to stay pretty much along the themes of nature lover, floral and fauna, and vintage vibe, and a cottage core, of course. And I had fun. I just love these warm, cheerful colors. She has one signature, and her spine is about 1 1/8 inch wide. This cover picture is beat up and burnished, and it's from a greeting card. It's also been tea dyed. Let's see, it is about 5 1/4 wide by 8 1/8 inches tall. A little bit wide here, but not too bad. I've kind of cinched her closed. Little vintage key here. Some vintage buttons and a yo-yo that I made from some cheerful fabric that I like, and I believe this is a vintage button. I just love this green. You'll see the green in different spots here as well, and tassel. The back, you can see the original book. This is a 1961 book about roses. So some of the book pages from it are in this journal too. Tea dyed ribbon, and it's in place. It's underneath the layers of tea dyed, I guess this is cross stitch or needlepoint fabric, and some vintage lace here. This might even be antique lace, this bit here. This is a doily, a vintage doily, and some vintage rickrack that I tea dyed. And this is glued on all the way there, and the single signatures underneath the doily, so it's protected. And now let's go inside. She's standing here at the gate with a little, I think, is that a dog or a cat? I don't know, it could be either. Cute. And she's got a bouquet of flowers. That reminds me of my daughter. She's picked flowers a lot. When we lived out in the country, we had a large garden. Large vegetable garden, large flower garden. Okay, here I've lined it with a piece of, I guess it's linen, that has some needlepoint on it, which I thought was lovely colors. And I added this little bit of, I think this is crocheted, it's been tea dyed, to the pocket, and I blanket stitched it on there. And there's a little button. I don't know if that's vintage or not. I don't think so, but it might be. And I made a little booklet for the pocket with some tea dye paper inside, some old book page. And yeah, that goes in here. Oh, and a vintage mother of pearl button. And this has been tea dyed. It's not vintage, but I love the look of it. From something I took apart. And a greeting card that's been turned into a journal card. And as usual, my journal cards and tags are blank on the back. And if you hear any weird noises, it's Honey playing with a toy. I forgot, I should have taken that toy out of here, but oh well, it's a sound of fun, right? That's what I used to think when our kids were making noise when they were little. And I heard that, I think it was on Focus on the Family, that when your kid's noise gets on your nerves, just remember that it's a happy noise, and then that always makes me feel better. So if my cats are making a ruckus, I always remember that's happy noise. This is from my gift book, and there's a little tab that I stamped on. On this side, I've put a tab on this greeting card that's been turned into a journal card. That's the sound of fun in the background there. And I wove this little bit here, there, and it had a little fuzzy end, and I just left it. Oh, I'm glad my cats aren't on my desk right now. They'd want that. Made a hidden paper clip using a picture from a magazine. And this is also from a greeting card. It's been tea dyed, I think, or onion dyed. Actually, no, I think that one's tea dyed. I lose track. And here's some vintage trim here. I guess, is that tatting? I'm not sure what you call that, but it's very delicate, old. And on this side I put a journal card made from a greeting card. Here's the other side of that hidden paper clip. And here I made a belly band out of some stamped ribbon, and I got this idea from Craft Room Stories from Peggy. Anyways, I always, when I see something I like, if you look in my favorites journal list, what is it called? Junk journals, tutorials that I love. If you check that, you'll see how I learned to do that. It was from her. Thank you, Peggy. And this is made with a magazine paper. This thing is like a 100-year-old book page, some dyed paper, and that's from a greeting card, and a vintage button, and some fabric here, a little bit of sewing, and lots of journal space. And this I did with watercolor, and then I tea dyed it. Got a bit creative in this one. And that's some paper that I coffee dyed using our plastic doily. And oh, you probably might be getting tired of this little card, but I just love it. I made it into a little booklet, tea dye paper inside, and I covered it with some tea bag. And there's one of my faux stamps, some lace here, and this was made from a magazine picture and some old book page stamped on there. And this just opens up and it's just a little plain journal card. And this button, you don't see this shape too often. I think it's vintage. I've had them for a while. I parted with one today. And this is, I think, a vintage paper clip too that's been altered. And on this side, we've got some William Morris scrapbook paper. Make a little tag there. It's a greeting card that's been turned into a page. And it's got a little journal card there made from part of a greeting card. And this is from a greeting card. And this here is from a magazine. And there's some fabric on there too. I'm really having fun making hidden paper clips, and that's something else that Peg did on Craft Room Stories. She did a tutorial on that, and I've seen that tutorial before somewhere else, but I don't know, the way she did it just really inspired me. So I made a whole bunch of undecorated ones, put them in a container, and the container, it's kind of like what I did with my yo-yos. And so now when I need to make an altered paper clip, I just go in here and I decorate it according to the theme of the page. Did some stamping on there. Anyways, thank you, Peg. You're very inspiring. She's fun to listen to, and she makes, I don't know, she just makes you feel brave, like, hey, just try it. That's from a magazine. And I used, when I did these altered, or these hidden paper clips, I used some fairly thick pages from an old bird book, so they're a little extra thick, so it works really well. And when I do it with the thinner ones, it doesn't turn out as well. It's a little harder to work with. This is from this original book here, Roses, and I made a little pocket with a doily, folded up and glued onto some coffee filter. And this is from a greeting card too, and I like how the colors went. And that was butterflies I made out of the cover of the William Morris scrapbook paper book. Waste Not, Want Not. I forgot I had them, and I was looking for some butterflies, and then I found them and went, oh my goodness, yeah, these are perfect for this. Here's from a greeting card, and lovely roses. Oh my goodness, I love how roses smell. And here's some lovely cottage pictures from this book too. And I love this greeting card. I think that's Feverfew, and I like them coming up in my garden, and what I do is I add them as filler in bouquets. They volunteer really nice, and they're so not picky too. Here's another altered paper clip. This one I made with some handmade paper, and then I just cut out a magazine picture. Or was that from a... Nope, that was from a magazine. Same with this one here, this little cat. This is from a greeting card, and this is just a piece of extra thick paper I stamped on and tea dyed. This pocket here has got a vintage button on it. Some stamping, some sewing, and some vintage, and what is this called? Piping, I think. And this is from the William Morris wallpaper scrapbook. And you can read behind here a little bit too what's from this book page that's from, I think it was from this book. There's two different books I pulled some rose papers from, so of course I lose track. lovely pictures on here. And another William Morris tag from the scrapbook paper book I got on Amazon. I don't know how long ago now, a few months ago or maybe a year ago. Time flies when you're having fun. And this was a tutorial that I copied from Kathy's Garden, and that will be in my favorites playlist too. And I did my own version of it, of course, because you know what it's like when you get inspired, but then when you're working on it, you think of your own ideas to add too. I added the stitching instead of just gluing it on, and I stamped on the card so that when you look through the window you see a little something, but you can still write on most of that side too. And I stamped here, and then you flip it. Oh, and I added, it's from a greeting card. These were leftover papers from William Morris, and I stamped there. And then it opens up, and I added a pocket here and a tag. And then I made it so that I made this extra wide here so that I could use it for a tuck spot for a journal card. And then I also have a little spot here too. Here I made some journaling card using a little file thing. And this idea, who did I get this idea from? Oh, well, it would be in my favorites, I think. So what I did was I used a stencil and I used my inks, not felt pen or watercolor, but just some of my inks, and then I outlined it with a fine black felt pen. So I like that idea. Lots of journaling space there. And this I did with watercolors and stencil. I actually had done this a few days before I saw this thing. And this is from a lovely book. Oh my goodness. I think this is one of the first things I've taken out of it. Just a lovely book about flowers. Maybe just wildflowers. I can't remember which book it is. I have so many books. I do not need to go shopping for books. I really don't. And here's another one like I explained on the other one, except a different color index card. And there's the other part of that artsy thing. And I collect a lot of these from when I'm, making paper smaller. So I tea dye them and save them. This is from really good quality book paper. And there's a journaling spot behind there too. These you can write behind there and on them, or you can just, it's a staple, so you could just hold this and tear it off if you want to use it somewhere else. Each one. And some papers from, was that a wildflower book? I love these illustrations though, when I tea dyed that. Vintage button, same as the other one. And William Morris journal card and lovely old book page from that Rose book. It's advertising from at the back of it. It's an English book. And another William Morris card there, and I did stamping on there too. And these here, I love the sound of them, and they take up the tea dye really nice. And these, I think I've explained this before, but this is the sticker backing when I use these stickers on my parcels that I send. And rather than toss this out, I tea dye them, and then you can't glue them. They will not, no glue I use will hold it on. But if I fold it over a page and maybe use some clothespins to hold it in place, then I can sew it on. And I just love how it sounds and how it looks. And you can see through it a little bit as well. So you can still read what's behind there. I'm almost out of those. And they're, I don't know, I think I've had them for 30 years. So they're vintage. Those stickers, I'm almost out. And then I just won't use them anymore because I don't have any more. Here's a lovely English garden. A little card that matches the pictures and color. Same with that. This was a book page I made into a picture from a page I made into a pocket. Journal tag there, and some upholstery trim. And here I took a magazine picture, very cottage looking, and made a journal spot and a tuck spot too for some William Morris paper there. And this is my favorite page. I love green. Green's my favorite color. This is from a vintage wildflower book This is by vintage bias tape, and a little tab there. There's fabric, and also, I guess is it tulle? I'm not sure. And journal card you can take out. Hidden paper clip with a little cottage on it from a magazine picture. And a journal card made from a greeting card. And on this side, the hidden paperclip has a picture of a vintage doll on it. There's a butterfly from a magazine and a little tag there with the flowers on it and book page, blank on the back for journaling. And I made this little booklet. I had this stamp that I just got in the thrift store. I really like it. So I stamped on a piece of leftover paper and then turned it into like a little mini journal book and added some pictures from magazines. I'm really getting into using my magazine pictures more. There was I guess you'd call it a tutorial by Be Again Books, and she showed how she organizes her papers, and I'm really love to be organized, but I'm not always organized, if you know what I mean. Not like I used to be when I was younger. But her idea of how she organized her papers really works for me. Stacking trays so that you've got your smallest pictures in the top tray and your medium ones, and then etc. So now I'm finding my stuff more and I'm able to use it better. Yeah, if you ever want to get some good ideas, Be Again Books is a great channel to watch. And this is from a magazine. Some stamping and a little bit of leftover paper on there. Journaling space on the back. Some lace. And I think this is that floral tape, but I used it as if it was washi tape, and I glued it onto here because the green goes with this green, the green in here, which is a little magazine picture on a piece of cardboard there, and the green goes with this, and this is a greeting card. And speaking of Be Again Books, she showed how you can sand off, like if this said happy birthday, I think that's what this said on here, you can sand it off and then sand off a few other spots too, and then when I tea dyed it afterwards, the tea dye gets picked up really good on those spots, and it just looks like an old picture. I love that idea. And that's a little decoration from a magazine. It's a hidden paper clip. And on this side I've got one of my little bouquets that I did with watercolor, and that's a copy of it. A little bit of gauzy stuff there that's been tea dyed. And this is from a greeting card, journaling, and this is a scan of one of my favorite all-time doilies, the rose on it. I haven't parted with that one yet. I still have it in my stash. And this greeting card's made, or this journal card, huge, is made from a greeting card. Oh, I just love this set of cards I got from the thrift store. I thought this fabric went nice with this page. And I made a little cottage cozy card here for journaling on. So I went with the colors on this page. There's a vintage mother of pearl button here. And I put this on for interest because I thought it went with this page of the colors, and it looks like it's handmade earring. Lovely. And here I've got a little bag I made with some ticket and stuff like that. Playing cards. And this is from a set of cards I recently got from the thrift store, and I've tea dyed some and I've coffee dyed some, and I just think they're lovely. Great for journaling on. And they don't need backing or anything. They're nice and sturdy already. I'm curious, did you especially like one of the pages? Like I was saying, the green one. The green one's my favorite. But yeah, and I like this one too. Actually, I like this one. That's why she's called Cottage Cutie. Oh, Honey went to sleep. She didn't play with her toy for very long. Well, I hope today finds you feeling cozy, enjoying simple pleasures like a hot cup of tea or a hot cup of coffee. It's raining here and windy outside. And I'm thankful for, a safe, sheltered place to sleep. I'm thankful for family. I'm thankful for, yeah, my cats, which I also consider family. And I'm thankful for the abundance of craft supplies. Sometimes I lack in enthusiasm, but that's when you go and you watch it. You watch something like Be Again Books, or sorry if I'm saying the name of your channel wrong, Peggy, but Craft Room Stories, or yeah, there's lots of them. Well, you have your own favorites that you like to go see. So even if we don't feel like maybe putting together a journal, we can work on things like mass making. And then those things are ready for when you are ready to craft. Take care. Bye.